Lads, what is good? How we all doing? Welcome back. Episode 13 of the Brother to Brother Chat. Today, I'll be diving into the most frequently asked question I get. How was I able to balance medical school, a business, while getting in incredible shape? And why I am on a mission to max my stats at 20 years old. And I'll start off with answering the former of that. And then I'll get into the actual principles that I follow on a day-to-day that allow me to balance these priorities. My philosophy as a man is you have to be multifaceted. You have to be the jack of all trades. And your value is going to be determined by your level of competence and your ability to give value in the world. When I was in medical school, I started to become comfortable. I started to fall into that pit of comfort because I thought, okay, I'm good enough. I'm in a good enough situation. But this becomes death for 90% of guys. Settling for average and not pursuing greatness further. And I realized that your ability to reach that level is not determined by your IQ. It's not determined by good genetics. If you're trying to build a good physique, it's not determined by who you know. It's determined by your self-belief, whether you think you can do it. But going back to that idea of maxing your stats, I don't want to settle for any less than that. I've always been fascinated with wanting to live that Bruce Wayne lifestyle, kind of lifestyle where you have it all. You've got the freedom, you've got the physique, you've got the business, you've got the mind. Right? It all comes together to build who you are at your best ultimate form. And a lot of guys tell themselves, oh, they want to be the best version of themselves, and they become addicted to this self-improvement game. But I think it's not really self-improvement. It's not really adding stuff. It's removing what's not you. The journey is less about becoming something else, but about removing parts of you that aren't you. At your core. That's what it's all about. And once you reach that core, that foundation of who you are, your identity, and you strip away all the noise, that's when you can really access your true genius. And that person, that inner fire within you, that's God. Because every one of us has a droplet of God's essence, our soul within us. And I truly think that the purpose of life, the meaning of life, is to express that and to build his kingdom. That's your role as a man, to create. And nowadays, what's so dangerous about the world we live in now, is that it's a consumer culture. You are just consuming left and right. You wake up, you open your phone, you're consuming. You consume content, you consume advice from people that don't care about you. You consume the programming from the education system. The reason God has decided for this world to even be here is to allow us to create on his behalf, build the kingdom of God. That is your purpose as a guy, to create your reality as you see fit and to live it on your terms. And the really cool part about being a man is you are born with no value. You're born at zero. And people can see that in a negative light and be like, oh, like I'm worth nothing. No one cares about me. But that is so inspiring because you're a blank sheet. You can build whatever life you want. And the sad thing I see so many guys fall into nowadays, that they don't have the life they want, but they don't know how to get out, or they're not motivated or unbothered by that. And that's death. That is inherently death from the inside out. So that was the clicking point for me. I decided, okay, I'm going to be a doctor in 4 years, but I can't just graduate with a certificate that makes me the same as everybody else. I need to build more and figure out, what do I really want? What is the life that I really want to live? And whatever that may be, you need to be rich. It's as simple as that. Money, whether you like it or not, is the currency that you need to live a life of freedom. There's no other way around it. So that was my motivation to start a business. And we're still growing that. We're still building as we go through this journey. And I'm far from where I need to be. But it's about starting. Most people don't even get started. So if you're watching this video, you're already ahead on 99% of other men. Now, getting into the source, how was I actually able to balance my med school studies with my fitness and a business. The first thing that I had to recognize is that we all only have 24 hours in the day. So you have to be very selective with your time. Think to yourself, is this activity going to boost my energy levels, or is it going to drain my energy? Is what I'm doing moving me towards my goals or taking me further away from them? Nothing I found is neutral. Think about it. Everything you do is either going to move you towards your goals, move your way. There's rarely anything that's going to be completely neutral. So what I did is I physically wrote down what I was doing on a day-to-day and I audited my habits. Is this moving me towards my goal or is it subtracting from my goal? And I realized that half of what I was doing was actually moving me away. The fast food that I would get, that was moving me away from the physique I wanted. The 2-hour doom scrolls before I went to bed, that was moving me away from building the business. So that's the first step. Awareness, figuring out what you're actually doing and why you're doing it, because everything must have a purpose. And it sounds very obvious to think of it like this, but if you're doing something that you don't want the result of, then why are you even doing it in the first place? You got to be real with yourself. That's step one. Build awareness to your life. What's working? What's not working? If something is not working, you need to make an active effort to change that. You have to be ruthless with your time. So much of what I see now is people doing things for the sake of it. Oh, I might as well do this. That is the biggest killer. Obligation. Doing something out of, oh, I'm just obliged to do this, or I just need to do this. Because then your motions become passionless, heartless. You start to do things, just go through the motions rather than put some passion behind your actions. And this is why I always say, I come back to this, execute with passion. And I find by doing that, you get rid of the need for discipline because you actually want to be there. You want the outcome of what you're doing and you channel the power of intention into building the life you want rather than just distracting and numbing you from reality. Number two, I had a very clear idea of where I was heading. I wrote down my goals, my priorities for the next 3, 6, 12 months. Too many guys just let stuff marinate in their head without actually putting it on paper and committing to something for real. But the factor that actually helped me get ahead was shortening the time between me having a thought and me executing on it. Speed is everything. Back when I started my touring business, it was within the day of me having that thought of starting the business that I actually made actions to make that happen. Because the earlier you can do that, the earlier you're going to get to the next stage and then get to the next stage. And I used to fall in the habit of just overthinking everything without acting. But what I've realized is action is going to solve 99% of the things that you think will get in the way. By putting one foot in front of the other, rather than just contemplating it, you then get to the stage where you can see the next step that you couldn't have otherwise saw if you stayed in the exact same position and just thought about it. So action is the number one remedy. Always take action. And lastly, it was understanding that there are people out there that have the life I want and know what I don't know, and I can ask them for help. I had a huge limiting belief that stopped me before, and that was thinking I can do it all myself. But the reality is there are people out there that you can get to coach you, to mentor you. Whether it's building a physique, you can get a coach to help you build that. Whether it's a business, you can get someone who's actually run that business to help you and invest into yourself and put your money where your mouth is. And I found that is such a catalyst to you getting things done because now you've upped the stakes, because comfort is the killer of dreams. And sitting on the fence is the killer of dreams, not going all in. So the big mentality that I've developed over the years is if the answer to doing something isn't hell yes, then it's no. Because half in, half out is going to waste so much effort and never get you the result you're looking for. Nobody has ever gone, oh, I'm going to try this and see how it goes and succeeded at it. Real progress, real results comes from going all in. And there's only so many things that you can go all in on in a certain period of time, which is why I say pick your battles. And it goes back to the first rule, which is being very selective with your time and only narrowing down on a select few priorities. The biggest mistake I made when I was trying to balance everything was taking on too much. And as a result, I was putting in all the work, but I was burnt out and I was making progress on none of the hustles. that I had for myself. I had a tutor business, I had the exam paper company, and I had, so I was I was posting content at the time, but it wasn't too good. And just, I had so much things going on and I succeeded at none of them, even though I was putting in so much work. So that's the big thing, is choose one thing and go all in on that thing. The grass is never greener somewhere else. It's always greener where you water it. It took me a long time to get over my shiny object syndrome, but that was also something that allowed me to channel my focus into one thing and actually get progress at that. At the end of the day, you want to build a system. You want to build a framework that you can implement in your life that allows you to get results on autopilot. The thing that should be a non-negotiable for any person, no matter what your goal is to get in insane shape. That is always rule number one. And to do that without it consuming your life, you need to build a system. You need to build a framework that integrates into your lifestyle, that allows you to do the things required without you having to live in the gym or obsess over your macros. And over years of actually trial and error, I figured it out. I developed a method that I called HERO Body System, which has allowed me to build the top 1% of physiques in the least amount of time and least amount of effort to maintain. So then I could funnel all the energy, the confidence, the self-belief, all the benefits that you get from that physique into building the life I want, into advancing my personal goals, achieving a 7 GPA in medical school, building a business. All these things, they're a byproduct of the person you are. And the easiest way to upgrade that is to give yourself an irrefutable proof that you are the man you say you are by building the body. That this is the biggest piece of proof that you can give yourself to get started and to start building in the right direction, forging the physique. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. Get in insane shape. Focus your energy into one thing that you want to do for the rest of your life for free. Don't lose focus. Keep grinding until you get there. And then when you're at that point of the mountain where you can see the next step, take it. It's as simple as that. And I found that achieving progress is actually quite simple nowadays. It's not about doing more. It's about doing it better. Doing what you already are doing better and removing the 99% of noise in your life that is stopping you from focusing on the one thing that's actually going to make you happy. That's actually going to give you purpose and fulfillment and the life that you want. In reality, 90% of the things that we do on a day-to-day is just noise. It's distraction. It's not actually progressing your life if you really think about it. So always calculate the ROI on that. And yeah, that was basically the main things that I realized that allowed me to balance it. And I'll just leave you with one thing, and that's you can achieve anything. It sounds very cliche, but it is totally true. The only thing stopping you is this, your mind. And I've found even in the times where I might have taken on more than I can chew, I've always came out the other side stronger, better, and more capable. Pressure makes the diamond. Don't be afraid. Never make a decision out of weakness. Being too afraid to pull the trigger or go all in because you're afraid that you're going to fail or you're going to make a fool of yourself. All these external pressures, forget them. Listen to your heart and let that guide you. Subscribe for more. And if you want to elevate your life in real time and join the team of killers, press the link below and we'll book a call together and see what's really holding you back. Let's go.